Hello, and welcome to Nexus Story Network.
The Deep Space Monitoring Station hung in the darkness like a metal spider, its sensors reaching out across the vast emptiness between stars. For 300 cycles, it had watched the same patch of space, recording the movement of asteroids and the birth of distant suns. Nothing ever changed in this forgotten corner of the galaxy. Captain Zephyr walked slowly through the main control room, his forearms clasped behind his back. His blue skin gleamed under the soft lights as he checked each workstation. The crew of mixed alien species worked quietly at their posts, monitoring signals that came from nowhere and meant nothing. "Another boring shift," muttered Catherine from her position at the long-range sensors. Her insect-like eyes clicked as she adjusted the settings for the 100th time that day. Nothing but cosmic dust and solar wind. Zephyr nodded. As a member of the Galactic Council fleet, he had hoped for a more exciting assignment than watching empty space. The Council ruled over thousands of worlds and hundreds of species, but this sector remained stubbornly empty of intelligent life. The Council had been the greatest power in the galaxy for over 10,000 years. They had found and welcomed countless species into their fold. Some joined willingly, eager to share in the Council's advanced technology in peaceful ways. Others needed more convincing, but in the end, they all saw the wisdom of Council rule. "Sir," called Vellner from the communication station. His tentacles moved quickly over the controls. "I'm picking up something strange." Zephyr moved to look over the young officer's shoulder. "What kind of strange?" "Energy readings, sir, but they don't match anything in our database." Vellner's tentacles trembled slightly. "The signature is massive." Catherine's head turned toward them, her compound eyes reflecting the light. "Massive? How?" "Like nothing I've ever seen," Vellner replied, his voice getting higher. "The energy output is off our scales." Zephyr frowned and walked to the main display screen. Numbers and graphs appeared showing wave patterns and energy readings that made no sense. Could it be a natural phenomenon? A new type of star? "No, sir," Catherine said, her claws clicking on her controls. "The pattern is too regular, too controlled. This is artificial." A chill ran through the control room. In all their years of monitoring space, they had never seen readings like these. The energy signature was not just large, it was impossibly dense and focused. "Distance?" Zephyr asked. 12 light hours and closing," Catherine reported. "Whatever it is, it's heading straight for Council space." Zephyr felt his heart beating faster. A new species was always exciting. But these readings suggested something far more advanced than the usual primitives they encountered. Most new species barely managed to achieve faster-than-light travel. Their ships were small, weak things that could barely cross a single star system. "Sir," Vellner spoke up again. "Should I contact Council Command?" Zephyr considered this. The Council had strict procedures for first contact with new species. A diplomatic team would be assembled, translators would be prepared, and a proper welcome would be arranged. But that could take days, and whatever was approaching would be here much sooner. "Not yet," he decided. "Let's gather more information first. I don't want to sound an alarm over a sensor malfunction." But even as he said it, Zephyr knew this was no malfunction. The readings were too consistent, too strong. Something was coming, and it was unlike anything they had encountered before. The arrival. Hours passed as the crew watched the approaching signal. The energy readings only grew stronger, confirming that whatever was heading their way was real and massive. Zephyr found himself pacing the control room, his anxiety growing with each passing moment. "Sir," Catherine called out. "I'm getting more detailed readings now. The object appears to be artificial. Definitely a spacecraft of some kind." "Size estimate?" Zephyr asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Catherine's claws stopped clicking. She stared at her screen for a long moment. "Sir, that can't be right." What can't be right? The size readings. According to my sensors, this ship is over 15 kilometers long. Silence fell over the control room. The largest council ships were barely 2 kilometers in length. Even the massive dreadnoughts that protected the core worlds were only 3 kilometers from bow to stern. A 15-kilometer ship was beyond imagination. Check your sensors again, Zephyr ordered, but his voice lacked conviction. Catherine ran the scans 3 more times. Each time the results were the same. Confirmed, sir. 15.2 kilometers in length. Mass readings suggest extremely dense construction. This thing is built like a fortress. Zephyr felt his confidence draining away. The Council's first contact procedures were designed for primitive species flying small, weak ships. They were not prepared for something like this. Sir, Vellner's voice was barely a whisper. I'm detecting weapon signatures. How many? Zephyr asked, dreading the answer. I can't count them all, sir. There are weapons ports covering the entire hull. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. The control room fell silent again. In all of Council history, no species had ever approached their space with such overwhelming firepower. The very idea was unthinkable. New species were supposed to be grateful for Council contact, eager to join their peaceful civilization. Sir, Catherine spoke slowly. What should we do? Zephyr stared at the display screen, watching the impossible readings scroll past. His training told him to follow protocol, contact Council command and wait for orders. But his pride as a Council officer told him something different. The Council had never backed down from a challenge. They were the rightful rulers of the galaxy, the guardians of peace and order. No primitive species, no matter how large their ship, could threaten that authority. Prepare the diplomatic fleet, he ordered finally. Standard first contact formation. Vellner looked confused. Sir, shouldn't we wait for reinforcements? 12 ships should be more than enough to handle one vessel, Zephyr said with more confidence than he felt. Even a large one. The truth was, Zephyr couldn't imagine any species building a ship that could threaten Council forces. Their technology was thousands of years advanced beyond most civilizations. Their shields were impenetrable. Their weapons devastatingly accurate. Size meant nothing against superior technology. Sir, Catherine said carefully. Perhaps we should at least inform Council command of the situation. Zephyr waved dismissively. After we've made first contact. I won't have them thinking I can't handle a simple diplomatic mission. The confrontation. Within hours, 12 Council cruisers had assembled near the monitoring station. Each ship was a masterpiece of Council engineering, sleek and deadly. Their crews were experienced veterans who had handled dozens of first contact situations. As they moved into formation, Zephyr felt his confidence returning. The approaching ship might be large, but it was still just one vessel against 12 of the Council's finest. The newcomers would quickly learn to respect Council authority. All ships report ready, sir, came the report from his communications officer. Excellent. Set course to intercept. Let's go welcome our new neighbors to the galaxy. The fleet moved out, their drives leaving trails of blue light in the darkness. Behind them, the monitoring station continued to track the approaching energy signature. Catherine remained at her post, studying the data with growing unease. The approaching ship wasn't just large, it was dense beyond anything she had ever seen. The energy reading suggested power systems that defied understanding, and the weapon signatures, there were so many of them that her computer couldn't track them all. As the distance closed between the two forces, sensor readings revealed more troubling details. The alien ship's energy output was beyond anything in Council records. Its shields registered as active and incredibly powerful. Most disturbing of all, its weapons appeared to be charging. Finally, long-range sensors began to pick up visual data. What they saw defied all expectations and challenged everything they thought they knew about spacecraft design. The approaching ship was not just large, it was a floating fortress. Its hull was thick and angular, covered in armor plating that could withstand devastating attacks. Weapon ports dotted every surface, each one large enough to house cannons that could destroy a city. This was not a ship built for exploration or trade. It was not designed to inspire awe or demonstrate artistic achievement. It was built for one purpose only: war. On the bridge of the HFY Ragnarok. Captain Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the HFY Ragnarok, his hands clasped behind his back as he studied the tactical display. The massive view screen showed the starfield ahead, empty except for the distant points of light that marked their destination. After 6 months of deep space travel, they were finally approaching the edge of what the scientists called active galactic space. "Sir, we're picking up artificial signals ahead," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim from her position at the sensor station. Her fingers moved quickly over the holographic controls. "Multiple sources. Looks like we found our neighbors." Chen nodded slowly. This was the moment they had all been waiting for, humanity's first contact with alien intelligence. The Ragnarok had been sent specifically for this purpose, to represent Earth and her colonies in whatever lay beyond their small corner of the galaxy. "How many sources?" Chen asked. 12 distinct signatures, sir. They appear to be spacecraft arranged in some kind of formation." Kim paused, studying her readings. "They're heading toward us. Weapon status? All systems show as armed and ready, but they're not targeting us yet," reported Chief Tactical Officer James Rodriguez. "Their formation suggests they're trying to intercept our course." Chen walked to the captain's chair, a massive seat designed to withstand the incredible forces that the Ragnarok could generate. The ship around him hummed with barely contained power. 15 kilometers of human engineering and determination. The Ragnarok was humanity's answer to the unknown dangers of deep space. When the first long-range probes had detected signs of advanced alien civilizations, Earth's leaders had decided to meet them as equals. The result was the Titan-Class warship program, designed to ensure that humanity would never be seen as weak or primitive. "Sir, incoming transmission," announced Communications Officer Lisa Park. "It's strange. The signal is being broadcast on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Can you decode it?" "Working on it, sir. The computer is analyzing the patterns now." Park's brow furrowed in concentration. "Got it. It appears to be some kind of universal translator matrix. Very sophisticated." Chen smiled slightly. At least their new neighbors were prepared for communication with unknown species. That was a good sign. "Put it through." The view screen flickered and changed to show the interior of an alien bridge. Chen found himself looking at a blue-skinned humanoid creature with 4 arms and large dark eyes. The being appeared to be wearing some kind of military uniform. "Greetings, unknown vessel," the alien said, its voice coming through clearly despite the obvious translation process. "I am Captain Zephyr of the Galactic Council fleet. You are entering Council space without authorization." Chen stepped forward, ensuring he was visible on their transmission. "Greetings, Captain Zephyr. I am Captain Marcus Chen of the United Earth ship Ragnarok. We come in peace, seeking contact with other intelligent species." Zephyr's expression changed slightly, and Chen could see the alien's eyes moving as if studying something off-screen. "Your vessel is unusually large for a first contact mission. We wanted to make sure we could defend ourselves if necessary," Chen replied honestly. "We had no way of knowing what we might encounter out here." There was a pause as Zephyr seemed to consider this. When he spoke again, his tone had become more formal. "As representatives of the Galactic Council, we welcome you to this region of space. However, your vessel must submit to inspection before proceeding further." Chen felt a warning tingle at the back of his neck. The alien's tone had shifted from greeting to demand very quickly. "I appreciate the welcome, Captain, but I'm afraid we can't submit to inspection. We're on a peaceful mission, but we're not prepared to surrender our vessel to unknown parties. You misunderstand, Zephyr said, and now there was definitely an edge to his voice. This is not a request. All vessels entering Council space must be inspected. It is the law. Whose law? Chen asked calmly. We're not citizens of your council, Captain. We're explorers from Earth, and we follow Earth's laws. On the view screen, Chen could see Zephyr's forearms moving in what appeared to be agitation. You are now in Council space, human. Our laws apply to all who enter our territory. Chen glanced at his tactical officer, who shook his head slightly. The alien ships were still not targeting them, but their formation had shifted to surround the Ragnarok. It was a classic intimidation maneuver. Captain Zephyr, Chen said carefully. Perhaps we should arrange for proper diplomatic contact. I'm sure our governments can work out the details of our presence here. There are no details to work out, Zephyr replied sharply. You will submit to inspection, or you will be forced to submit. The choice is yours. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the bridge of the Ragnarok in tense silence. Analysis, Commander Rodriguez? Chen asked. Sir, they've moved into an attack formation. Classic pincer movement designed to hit us from multiple angles simultaneously. Rodriguez studied his tactical display. Their ships are about 2 kilometers long each, heavily armed. But, sir. But what? They're positioning themselves like they expect us to be helpless against their combined firepower. It's the kind of formation you'd use against a much smaller, weaker vessel. Chen nodded. The aliens had looked at the Ragnarok and seen only size, not understanding what that size represented. They had no idea that humanity's approach to warfare was fundamentally different from what they were used to. Incoming transmission, sir, Park announced. Same source. Zephyr appeared again, but this time his expression was harder. Human vessel, you have 60 seconds to lower your shields and prepare for boarding, or we will take action. Chen straightened his shoulders. Captain Zephyr, I strongly advise against any hostile action. We have no wish to fight, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. Your threats are meaningless. Zephyr sneered. You are 1 ship against 12. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly. The transmission ended again. Chen turned to his crew, seeing them all waiting for his orders. These were good people handpicked for this mission. They deserved a captain who would protect them. Sir, Rodriguez said quietly. Their weapons are charging. Chen walked to the tactical station and studied the display showing the enemy formation. 12 ships against 1. In the aliens' experience, that was probably overwhelming odds. But they didn't understand what they were facing. The Ragnarok wasn't just large, it was dense. Every meter of its hull was packed with weapons, shields, armor, and redundant systems. Humanity had built it with one guiding principle: if they were going to meet aliens, they were going to meet them from a position of strength. All hands, this is the captain, Chen announced over the ship's communication system. We are about to be attacked by alien vessels. This is not what we wanted, but we will defend ourselves. All crew to battle stations. Alarms began sounding throughout the ship as 15,000 crew members moved to their combat positions. The Ragnarok transformed from an exploration vessel into a weapon of war in a matter of minutes. Shields at maximum power, Rodriguez reported. All weapon systems armed and ready. Sir, Kim called out from sensors. The alien ships are firing. On the view screen, Chen could see bright flashes as the Council ships unleashed their weapons. Streams of plasma energy and particle beams crossed the space between the two forces, striking the Ragnarok's shields with tremendous force. The massive human warship didn't even shudder. The alien weapons, impressive as they were, simply couldn't penetrate the multi-layered defensive systems that protected the Titan-class vessel. Energy readings showed the shields absorbing and dispersing the attack with ease. Damage report, Chen ordered. No damage, sir, Rodriguez replied, a note of amazement in his voice. Shields are holding at 98%. Their weapons barely scratched us. Chen felt a grim satisfaction. The aliens had made their choice. Now they would learn what humanity was capable of. Open a channel, he ordered. Zephyr's face appeared on screen again. But now the alien looked confused and worried. Impossible. Our weapons should have disabled your shields. Captain Zephyr, Chen said calmly. You have attacked a peaceful vessel. This is your only warning. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. You're bluffing. Zephyr snarled. No single ship can withstand the combined firepower of a council battle group. You're about to find out, Chen replied. He turned to Rodriguez. Target the lead vessel. Point defense turret 7. Single shot. Rodriguez's eyes widened slightly. Point defense turrets were designed to shoot down incoming missiles and fighter craft. Using one against a capital ship was almost insulting, but he followed orders. Target locked, sir. Fire. A single beam of coherent energy lanced out from the Ragnarok, striking the lead council ship amidships. The alien vessel, which had seemed so impressive moments before, simply vaporized. One moment it was there, the next it was an expanding cloud of superheated gas. The silence on the alien communication channel was deafening. Chen could see Zephyr staring in shock at something off-screen, probably his tactical display showing the complete destruction of one of his ships. Captain Chen. Zephyr's voice was barely a whisper. What did you do? That was a point defense weapon, Captain. Designed for shooting down small targets like missiles. Chen's voice remained calm and professional. Would you like to see what our actual weapons can do? The remaining 11 council ships had stopped firing. Chen could see them on his tactical display, hanging motionless in space as their crews tried to process what they had just witnessed. This is impossible, Zephyr said, more to himself than to Chen. No species has technology this advanced. The Council has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Captain Zephyr, Chen said firmly. You attacked us without provocation. We responded with minimal force to defend ourselves. I suggest we end this before it escalates further. For a long moment, the alien captain said nothing. When he finally spoke, his voice was shaky. What do you want? The same thing I wanted when this started, Chen replied. Peaceful contact between our species. But that will have to wait until your superiors can meet with proper diplomatic representatives. Chen gestured to Park, who cut the transmission. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed what had just happened. Their first contact with alien intelligence had resulted in the destruction of an alien warship. Sir, Rodriguez said quietly. Should we pursue the retreating vessels? Chen looked at the tactical display. The remaining council ships were indeed retreating, moving away from the Ragnarok as quickly as their drives could carry them. No, let them go. They have a story to tell, and their leaders need to hear it. The council panic. The emergency meeting chamber on Council Prime buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from dozens of species gathered around the circular table. The holographic display in the center showed the tactical recordings from Captain Zephyr's encounter, playing the same devastating scene over and over again. High Counselor Veeler, a tall crystalline being whose body reflected the chamber's lights in rainbow patterns, stood at the head of the table. We have all seen the recordings, she announced. The question before us is simple: how do we respond to this new threat? Threat? Interrupted Counselor Kesserin, his reptilian features showing confusion. They destroyed only one ship. Perhaps this was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Veeler's crystalline form seemed to pulse with anger. They vaporized a council cruiser with what they claimed was a point defense weapon. If that is their weakest armament, What might their actual weapons be capable of? Admiral Thexer, commander of the Council's main battle fleet, activated his personal display. I've analyzed the weapon signatures from the engagement. The energy output is unlike anything in our databases. The focused coherence of the beam suggests technology that shouldn't be possible. All technology is possible given enough time and resources, said Dr. Yithra, the Council's chief science advisor. Her multiple tentacles gestured at the holographic replay. What concerns me is the efficiency. They achieved total molecular disruption with a single shot. Our shields wouldn't have lasted any longer than Zephyr's ship. Silence fell over the chamber. If their own shields were useless against human weapons, their technological advantage had just evaporated. What do we know about their home system? Asked Counselor Myrdane, a gas-based life form. Admiral Thexer brought up a new display. Long-range probes have identified their point of origin, a system they call Sol. The third planet appears to be their home world, designated Earth. Preliminary scans suggest approximately 8 billion individuals on the home world alone. They also appear to have colonies on several other planets and moons within their system. Velar's form flickered with concern. 8 billion? That's larger than most Council member species' total populations. It gets worse, Thexer continued. We're detecting massive industrial activity throughout their system. Shipyards, mining operations, manufacturing facilities. Their industrial capacity appears to exceed anything we've seen. But why? Asked Myrdane. What drives a species to build such overwhelming force? The question hung in the air unanswered. In all their centuries of first contact, the Council had never encountered a species that approached the galaxy with such obvious military strength. Perhaps, suggested Counselor Zixtel, we should try diplomatic contact. Send a proper ambassador rather than a military patrol. After they destroyed one of our ships. Velar's voice rose in pitch. That would show weakness. What would you suggest instead? Kesserin asked. Military action against a species that can vaporize our cruisers with their weakest weapons. The debate continued for hours. As the arguments raged, new intelligence reports began arriving. Council scouts reported disturbing developments. Multiple massive energy signatures were moving through the Sol system. How many ships do they have? Velar demanded. Conservative estimates suggest at least 12 vessels of similar size to the Ragnarok, possibly more, Thexer replied grimly. And there are indications of even larger ships under construction. Ships up to 25 kilometers in length. The chamber fell silent. The Council's combined military forces consisted of approximately 2,000 ships, most of them much smaller than human vessels. If humanity possessed even 50 ships like the Ragnarok, they could challenge the entire galactic order. Reports poured in from 17 different sectors. Human ships were conducting systematic scans of Council territory, mapping strategic assets, defenses, and trade routes. They were not attacking, but they ignored all hails and warnings. This is classic pre-invasion intelligence gathering, Thexer said bluntly. They're identifying targets, mapping defenses, and establishing operational parameters. Alarms began sounding throughout the command center. Council Command, this is Monitor Station Epsilon 7, came the panicked voice of a station commander. We have multiple massive energy signatures approaching our position. 3 primary signatures, but they're bigger than anything we've ever seen. Estimated length over 20 kilometers each. The humans were deploying their largest ships. Monitor Station Epsilon 7, Velar called out. Are they targeting your station? No, High Counselor. They're just sitting there. Like they're waiting for something. Dr. Yithra's tentacles moved frantically. I'm receiving similar reports from 6 other monitoring stations. Human ships are taking positions throughout our space, but they're not attacking. What are they doing then? Kesserin asked. They're showing us that they can position massive fleets anywhere in Council space without being stopped, Thexer replied. It's a demonstration of power. As if summoned by his words, a new communication signal appeared on the main display. It wasn't from a panicked patrol, but a direct transmission from the human fleet. The image showed a human officer in a crisp military uniform. "Greetings, Galactic Council," the human said. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Navy. I believe we need to talk." Veeler stepped forward. "Admiral Chen, I am High Counselor Veeler. Your ships have violated our territorial sovereignty." "Have they?" Chen asked with a slight smile. "By whose authority do you claim sovereignty over this region of space?" "By right of discovery and 10,000 years of peaceful governance," Veeler replied formally. "Interesting," Chen said. "And who granted you this right? Did you simply declare yourselves the rightful rulers and enforce that claim through military power?" The question struck at the heart of Council authority. "The Council has brought peace and prosperity to thousands of worlds," Councillor Kesserin interjected. "I'm sure you have," Chen replied. "And now humanity will bring our own form of peace and prosperity to this region. The difference is that we're not asking for your permission." Admiral Thexer stepped forward. "Are you declaring war on the Galactic Council?" Chen's expression grew serious. "War? No, Admiral. War implies that both sides have a realistic chance of victory. What I'm declaring is humanity's independence from any external authority over our expansion and development." "You cannot simply ignore galactic law," Veeler protested. "Galactic law?" Chen's smile returned. "You mean Council law. The rules you created to maintain your own power. Humanity was never party to those agreements. We don't recognize your authority over us." "What do you want?" Veeler asked finally. "Simple coexistence," Chen replied. "Humanity will continue to expand and develop as we see fit. The Council can continue to govern those species that choose to remain under your authority. As long as you don't interfere with human interests, we have no conflict." "And if we do interfere?" Admiral Thexer asked. Chen's expression hardened. "Then you'll discover why humanity builds such large ships." "Admiral, I suggest you don't make that choice." The transmission ended. The human admiral had just delivered an ultimatum: accept humanity's independence or face the consequences. "Analysis?" Veeler demanded. "Humanity has deployed approximately 60% of their known fleet for this demonstration," Dr. Yithra reported. "Could we win a direct confrontation?" asked Kesserin. "Doubtful," Admiral Thexer admitted. "Our losses would be catastrophic. The Council's choices were accommodation or annihilation." The new reality. 6 months passed since Admiral Chen's ultimatum. The massive Council chambers on Council Prime buzzed with nervous energy. "Honored representatives," Veeler began. "We gather today to address the fundamental changes that have occurred over the past several months. 17 star systems have declared independence from Council governance. 23 more have requested protection agreements with human forces." Councillor Kesserin activated his display. "The economic implications are even more disturbing. Human industrial output has increased by 400% in the last 6 months. They're building ships faster than we can count them." "How is that possible?" asked Representative Yaikal. Dr. Yithra projected data. "Humans focus on scale and redundancy. They build multiple shipyards, multiple manufacturing centers. Their energy production utilizes multiple Dyson rings. Their output exceeds the entire Council by a factor of 20. Admiral Thexer stood to address the assembly. 3 weeks ago, I ordered a probe of human defenses in the Kepler sector. Our fleet of 6 cruisers was intercepted by a single human vessel. When our commander asserted Council authority, the human vessel destroyed all 6 cruisers in 47 seconds. Silence fell over the chamber. They're claiming to protect sectors that don't belong to them, Representative Zixmal said. Actually, said a new voice from the entrance, those sectors asked for our protection. 3 humans entered the chamber. The lead figure, a woman in an elegant diplomatic uniform, approached the center. I am Ambassador Diana Reyes, representing the United Earth government. This is a closed session, Velar snapped. You have no authority to be here. Actually, I do, Reyes replied calmly. 17 systems that were formerly under Council governance have requested human protection and representation. As their chosen representative, I have the right to speak for their interests. This is preposterous, protested a representative. They cannot simply change allegiance. According to the Council's own charter, they can, Reyes pointed out. If their needs are not being met. What threats were not being met? Thexer demanded. The Zeta Reticuli system was raided by pirates 7 times last year. Council patrols arrived hours late. Under human protection, there have been 0 attacks. Patrol response times are within minutes. Reyes displayed data showing human administration outperforming Council governance in almost every metric. How is this possible? Asked Representative Moran. The Council has thousands of years of experience. Experience in maintaining the status quo, Reyes replied. Humanity approaches problems differently. When we see inefficiency, we fix it. When citizens need help, we provide it immediately. Reyes walked to the center of the chamber. The choice before you is simple. You can continue trying to maintain authority through tradition and fear, or you can accept that the galaxy has changed. And if we resist? Velar asked. Then you'll discover why humanity builds ships like the UES Leviathan, Reyes replied. Our first Titan-Class Dreadnought. 37 kilometers long. Armed with enough firepower to sterilize a planet. It will be operational within 6 months. The chamber fell silent. But that's not why I'm here, Reyes continued. Humanity has no desire to rule the galaxy. We want to expand, explore, and protect our interests. The Council can continue to govern those species that choose to remain. In exchange, we require recognition of human independence and sovereignty over territories that have chosen our protection. And if we refuse? Then humanity will continue to grow according to our own interests. More systems will request our protection. Eventually, the Council will become irrelevant, not through conquest, but through obsolescence. The logic was clear. Humanity wasn't threatening destruction, they were offering something better. Time is running out, Ambassador Reyes said as she prepared to leave. The question is whether you want to be our partners or our obstacles. As the human delegation departed, the chamber erupted in debate. But deep down, they all knew the truth. The age of Council supremacy was over. The age of humanity had begun. In the depths of space, human ships continued their expansion, carrying with them the promise of a new galactic order where strength and efficiency would replace tradition and bureaucracy.